welcome back to Elster's Rifles and Reloading. Now I know some of you have been waiting for the Tikka T1X 22LR review, and you know I had that on pre-ordered. I actually ended up canceling an order. Word through the grapevine was that they are getting held up by the ATF or by Tikka, and it sounded like I wasn't going to be able to get that rifle until next year. And life is too short. I just can't wait that long. So I've actually been eyeballing this Ruger Precision Rimfire for some time, especially with the options that you get with it for under 400 bucks. It's kind of hard to pass up. From what I've been reading, especially on Sniper's Hide, that it's kind of hit or miss in terms of accuracy with these Ruger Precision Rimfires. But this sounds like a lot of manufacturers are coming out with aftermarket barrels for the Ruger Precision Rimfire, so that seemed kind of interesting to me, and that's kind of why I decided to go this route instead of the Tikka T1X, and especially with all the options that you can get. And I happened to stop by Scheels locally, and they happened to have one in stock. They had it priced for over 400 bucks. I talked to the rifle manager, and I happened to find an online price for 375. He was willing to match that, so I couldn't pass it up. Now, if you've been subscribed to my channel for some time, you most likely know about my Ruger Precision Rifle Adventure. It's a very in-depth series on the Ruger Precision Rifle, all the way from the rifle itself, its options, reloading for it, and doing load development. And if you're new to reloading, I highly recommend checking out that Ruger Precision Rifle Adventure. Even if you don't own a Ruger Precision Rifle, if you're loading for a bolt action, there's an insane amount of information in there of how to reload for a bolt action and doing load development. So being that I was being held up on the Tikka T1X for so long, I figured this would be a great trainer rifle for me, for my other Ruger Precision rifles. Obviously that makes sense. I've owned the 308 Ruger Precision rifle, which I ended up selling, but I still own a 6.5 Creedmoor and the 243, and they're both amazingly accurate rifles. So enough of the blah blah blah. Let's go over this Ruger Precision Rimfire and the 22LR, its options, and let's head out to the range and get this shot for the very first time. Now the buttstock on the Ruger Precision Rimfire is very similar to the Ruger Precision rifles, other than the fact obviously it doesn't fold. But for length of pull adjustment, cheek weld, it's very similar. It has a QD mount, a Picatinny rail on the bottom for a monopod if you want to go that route. Buttstock's pretty similar. All in all, for a trainer rifle for your Ruger Precision rifle, especially for under 400 bucks, I don't think you can go wrong. I mean, yeah, it would be nice if it did fold, but I'm sure that would exponentially increase the cost and push this well over 500 bucks, and the fact that I got this for 375 is quite amazing. Now this part of the Ruger Precision Rimfire snaps off. There's a little hidden Allen key underneath here if you want to adjust the trigger. And the trigger is identical to the Ruger Precision rifles, which for me as a trainer rifle is perfect and is adjustable from 2.5 to 5 pounds. This rifle also comes with a 30 minute of angle built-in Picatinny scope rail, which is nice for shooting longer distances like 300 plus yards to make sure that you don't run out of elevation on your scope. So when I first got this Ruger Precision Rimfire, I tried putting on a one-piece AR scope mount, and I actually have this set up on my other Ruger Precision rifles and it works great. But with this Rimfire, I noticed that it put the scope up way too high. I mean, it was damn near a half-inch gap between the bottom of my front bell and the handrail itself. And I started to run out of adjustment on my cheek weld piece here. So I went back to Scheels and we played around with some different scope rings, and obviously depending on the size of your front objective, it's going to make a difference on which rings you get. But I ended up hooking up with some Burris rings here, which gave me roughly about 1/8 of an inch gap between the scope cap and the handguard. And I had to push the rings and the scope as far forward on Picatinny rail here as far as I could get it. But with this setup and the way I have it adjusted on the buttstock right now with the cheek weld piece, it's perfect. It's very comfortable and it's easy to shoot. So take my advice, do not use a one-piece scope mount. Buy individual rings, get that scope down as far as you can get it so you don't run out of cheek weld adjustment. Now this rifle comes with a 15 round BX-15 Ruger box magazine, and it works great. I have no issues with it hitting the bench, especially with a standard owl ear rear sandbag and a 6 to 9 front Harris bipod. I got tons of clearance here, so it's not an issue. I've read online that some people have had issues with the 10 round flush box mags from Ruger. And so it sounds like you're better off just sticking with the BX-15 magazines. Now as for the bolt itself, it is definitely different than the Ruger precision rifles. It is smaller other than the handle, it's very similar. It does come with this throw adjustment ring. It comes installed and has a Rimfire 1.5 inch bolt throw. And you can remove this to increase the bolt throw to 3 inches to match the Ruger precision rifles, which I end up doing. I took this off so it matches more of my Ruger precision rifles as a trainer rifle. Now a couple things on the 15-inch aluminum M-LOK handguard. Now first and foremost, it's very small in nature. You can wrap your entire hand around it. It's very low profile. There's not much room between the handguard and the barrel itself. You know, this barrel is a varmint bull barrel all the way through. So keep that in mind if you get an M-LOK bipod adapter like mine. I actually end up having to grind down the bolts to make sure that there's enough clearance between the bolts and the barrel itself. Without doing that, it was paper thin between the bolts and the barrel. After grinding them down, I have well over 1/8 of an inch gap on those bolts now. So to make sure when I load the bipod and I put torque on this handguard itself that those bolts don't touch the barrel. That's very important. Now, second thing about Ruger and their precision rifles, I swear to God, Ruger cannot install a handguard on a Ruger precision rifle where it's aligned with the barrel. Every single Ruger precision rifle I've ever received, my 308, my 6.5 Creedmoor, my 243, the handguard is not even remotely in line with the barrel. And when I got this, I mean, I'm not kidding you, there was probably 1/8 of an inch on this side and 3/8 of an inch on the other. I mean, it wasn't even close. So Ruger, if you're watching this video, whoever's installing these handguards, you really need to have a serious talk with that person because they're not doing it right. So what I ended up having to do is hunt down Ruger's how to disassemble Ruger Precision Rimfire. There is 2 bolts, if I can get this on camera, which I probably can't, but they're underneath here, underneath the chassis. You just pop out those 2 bolts, the entire assembly comes off, which exposes 2 bolts hidden underneath this part, which you have to untighten, align the handguard so it's straight as an arrow with the barrel itself, and retighten those, which I did at 40 inch-pounds. And also Ruger had this from the factory at I think 10 inch-pounds, which in my opinion wasn't even remotely torqued enough. Got this all realigned, retorqued at 40 inch-pounds a piece on both handguard bolts itself, and then reinstalled the chassis, and now it's straight as an arrow. But like I said before, Ruger is unable to install a handguard. It already comes with a 1/2 by 28 threading for your suppressor. As for the barrel itself, it's an 18-inch cold hammer forged steel barrel. And Green Mountain Barrel Company already has barrel replacements for this Ruger Precision Rimfire. They have one in 16 and 22 inch, and they range from roughly 170 to 190 bucks. And the barrel can be easily replaced with a standard AR armorer's wrench. Now before we head to the range here, just some other minor features. Obviously comes with an AR style pistol grip. But the big thing is the safety selector is reversible, whether you're left or right handed. And according to Ruger's website, it will also accept a standard AR ambidextrous style selector. Now I'm not going to disassemble this. Actually, Ruger has a YouTube video showing you how to do it. It's actually pretty easy. So just check that out, especially if your handguard is off center. So Brown Owls was running a deal for 2,000 rounds of CCI standard velocity shipped for $85. So it was a no-brainer for me. I hooked up on that. But I wanted to test out some other types of 22 LR ammunition. So I went to my local Shields. This is all they had. I wish they had more, but this is what I'm working with. And I plan on eventually testing out other types of ammo, but I still need to order that online. Enough of the BS, let's head out to the range. So what I'm going to do here is shoot 2 5-shot groups each, 2 5-shot groups with the Federal Auto Match, 2 groups with the Federal Hunters Match, 2 groups with the Federal Gold Medal, and 2 groups with the CCI Standard Velocity. Whichever produces the best 2 5-shot groups, then I'm going to run it to 100 yards and shoot a 6x5. Well, we are getting some gusts of winds here. A little more windy than I prefer to have shooting 22 LR. It doesn't take much to push these little bullets off track. But, I said before, when you go to the range, you take what you can get. Well, to my surprise, the Federal Gold Medal didn't perform better. You know, if I had to pick one without actually measuring this, I would say the CCI Standard Velocities most likely did the best. Close second would be the Federal Hunter Match Hollow Point. That's pretty decent there, but I think it's safe to say the CCI Standard Velocities did the best. You know, left group there, I'm guessing without measuring it, is about 1/2 inch. Right group without the flyer, about a 1/2 inch. With the flyer, it's about 1 inch. You know, it very well could have been me. I think it's safe to say that Standard Velocity outperformed them all. Federal Auto Match must be a little bit higher velocity. Impacting a little bit higher. Hunter Match actually performed better than the Gold Medal, which is kind of surprising. But anyways, let's run this out to 100 yards. Kind of windy out here. Not sure how this will work at 100 yards, but we're on a 6x5 with a CCI Standard Velocity. Well, it's definitely too windy, I think, to shoot a 6x5 at 100 yards. With these dinky little 40 grain slow moving 22 LR bullets. I think I'd just be wasting my time and money here. This wind's gonna be whipping these dinky little bullets all over the place. So I think I'm just gonna save that to part 2, and I just don't want to waste your time or my time in regards to testing out the precision of this Ruger Precision Rimfire and Standard Velocity CCI ammo. Actually, quite amazed with what I got at 50 yards with how windy it is, and especially the CCI Standard Velocity. Other than this one flyer here, I'd say it's pretty darn impressive. And yeah, looks promising so far. Let's just take this back to the reloading room, score this up, and I think we'll wait till part 2 to do a 6x5 at 100 yards. Well, it was pretty windy out there. You know, I'm actually quite amazed at the results on all of these, especially the CCI, with how well it did and how windy it was out there. I would have liked to have gone to 100 and shot a 6x5, but that just wasn't going to happen today with how windy it was. Some other notes, I'm actually quite surprised that the gold medal didn't come out on top and the CCI standard velocity did. I'm actually surprised at that, but I'm also happy that the CCI actually ends up working out well with this Ruger Precision Rimfire barrel. Being that I already have 2,000 rounds of this shipped from Brownells for $85, sounds like a winner. Well, stay tuned to part 2, where we'll most likely take this Ruger Precision Rimfire out to the 100-yard mark and run a 6x5. And for its first outing, from someone that extensively knows the Ruger Precision Rifle quite well, it was quite comfortable to shoot and will serve great as a trainer rifle. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and I'll see you next time.